Great memories and great pictures of Manchester City's FA Cup history, and these are great pictures too. Look at the sunshine, but look who the sun's shining on. Our Golden Ball winner, the Ballon d'Or man, Rodri, is out on the training field after his horror ACL injury against Arsenal in September, just 5 short months ago. Even in training, nobody can get near that man. That is encouraging. Rodri is on his way back. And just across that bridge at the main stadium, the Etihad, Pep Guardiola arriving for today's FA Cup 5th round tie against Plymouth of the Championship in the relegation zone. All smiles. Rico Lewis, Nathan Ake, Nico O'Reilly. There's 1 or 2 young faces involved today, but it is a very, very strong Man City team for the arrival of Plymouth here in the FA Cup. Earbuds in. All smiles, handshakes for everybody. Ruben's there, Bernardo's there. All got their wash bags. I haven't seen Kadir Kusanov yet, who we're told doesn't travel with a wash bag, doesn't need one, does he? Quick shower at home, come do the business as he has been doing the business. Get the job done, target another FA Cup final and indeed another FA Cup win. I can reveal that the man in the hat, Jack Grealish, is in the starting team today. His first start since picking up that early injury against Real Madrid. De Bruyne's there. So many goals, so many assists in the FA Cup. Let's have a look at that City side for today. Here's who Pep's gone with. Who's got the gloves? Stefan Ortega is between the sticks for the Blues today. Rico Lewis begins our defensive lineup. How about this? The young man, Vitor Reis, the Brazilian, makes his second start alongside the experience of Nathan Ake. And I already mentioned him. Nico O'Reilly will wear number 75 in the starting team. Ilkay Gundogan, I was chatting to his barber just this morning. He's in the starting team. Kevin De Bruyne, no one has more goals and assists than him in the FA Cup since his debut. James McAtee got a hat-trick against Salford. Bernardo Silva is in the starting lineup. Jack Grealish is back, fit and starting. What can he offer against Plymouth? And then completing the starting team is that man there. Number 47 tattooed on his neck, Phil Foden. And that is your City team to face Plymouth in the Cup. And this is a new shot. Atmosphere building nicely inside the Etihad Stadium. Hello, can you see us? That's me, Chris Latchem, on the left of your screen, along with Peter Reid. And you see that green light that's just turned red? It's because you are a little green, aren't you, Andy Morrison?
Yeah,
Put in both camps.
There's a lot of green. Yes, absolutely. You know, I had a fantastic time as a schoolboy, then apprentice, professional, and always had a great connection with the club. And it's just really special to be here today and seeing the Green Army come in. They're masses, you know.
Yeah, we might have to get that wide-angle camera if and when the goals go in, and so we can show our viewers at half-time. How did Andy react when City scored, when Plymouth scored? We'll maybe do that. Peter Reid's with us as well. Reedy, great to have you with us. You also spent some time down in Plymouth. We'll dig into that more deeply, but you've got great affection for this club, haven't you?
Yeah, I think, Guy, when you go down there and you see, you get involved with Plymouth and the Green Army, which is the name of the support.
Reid Army?
Exactly right. Fantastic football club, brilliant fans, and I just hope they get enough points to stay in the league. That's very important. This is a massive game for them, you know, because they turned over Brentford and Liverpool, which is magnificent.
Yeah.
It'll be an hard game, and when you do well in the cup, it breeds confidence. Mm-hmm. You know, when people go on, they get out the cup, you know, too many games, rubbish. When you get on a run and you are on a cup run, players, they grow.
Yeah, as they have done. They did against Brentford, they did against Liverpool, did the job against them. We'll get into Plymouth Argyle and their team a little bit later on, but we want to reflect on the Manchester City team that's been picked. We're going to bring it up just across the screen so that you can all digest it in your time. But the one that I want to pick up on is the face third from the left, is Vitor Reis. He's just a young lad, signed from Palmeiras. This is his second appearance for Manchester City. His first was in a similar game. It was in the previous round, Andy, against Leyton Orient. How good is it for a young player who's come from not just a different country, a different continent, to begin his English football career in these kind of games against different kind of opponents? He's really going to have to step up.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a physical aspect to the way that Plymouth play, and it's how he's going to deal with that physicality. I've heard nothing but good things. You know, I watched some YouTube videos of him when we signed him to get a look at him, and then Ferrandino talked so fondly about just how good this kid is, like, you know, but we've got to see that, you know, and I've been told there's a great range of passing, comfy in possession of the ball, great defender one-on-one. Sounds like he has every attribute to be a Manchester City player, you know, but this will be a great test for him today, and he'll be looking forward to it, you know, and there'll be a touch of nerves. He's a young lad, so you know, and I hope it goes really well for him.
Yeah, lining up, well, I would imagine maybe in a back three, not quite sure how they'll line up. In possession, out of possession is always different with Pep, as we know. But also I mentioned that Nico O'Reilly, he's starting his third FA Cup tie in a row this season. So he started against Salford, played really well. Started against Leyton Orient, and he's starting again. He's just getting the minutes in this competition that is now so important to City this season.
Right. Footballers, when you're on a training ground, you're learning. It's so important being coached right. There's nothing like games. That's the hard yards. When you're out there and you're playing football matches, and Plymouth will be physical, like we say, but it's great experience for the young players, and they grow when they're out on the football pitch, and that is the best learning trade in the world, out there playing a competitive game.
Especially for, I mean, we've seen over the last season and a half Rico Lewis playing alongside the first team as regular as he did. At first he was put in because we need to plug a gap, and then all of a sudden Pep's obviously seen something and gone, well, this is someone that's just not just plugging a gap, he's the future of this football club. And that's what Nico O'Reilly and James McAtee get the experience of today. Yeah,
absolutely, and I feel there's so much more to come from Nico O'Reilly. The Salford game, you know, I said afterwards the game on one of the shows that was on, that, you know, he looks like he had another 2 or 3 gears, because he plays, he's 6'3". You know, he's like Patrick Vieira in the kind of way he looks and the way he plays the game, and he was so impressive. You know, and obviously scored in the Leyton Orient game, and you know, but you can see he's a product of the academy in the way he can receive the ball, the way he deals with the ball. He's never ever flustered, and just the next one, you know, that's coming along. But you get in, but you need to stay in. You'll always get a chance as a youngster, because it's great for clubs. You see somebody, but they then have to stay in. And if they stay in, they prove to the manager that I can trust him. I know that when we go into that next game, because they won't. They'll just drift away if they're not good enough. And he's obviously good enough.
No, I was just going to say, you took the words out of that. I mean, if you're playing in a game, you're showing the manager, hey, by the way, don't leave me out. I've been brilliant. I've been man to match. I've played well today. And that's what you've got to do. And they'll learn on the training ground, but to have that mindset is so important. And I think the way Pep is as a coach, the way Manchester City are as a football club, I think these young players have it, because they bring so many through. I mean, they bring through players that leave here and go on and have successful careers. So the grounding is there for them.
Yeah, certainly is. I mean, James McAtee got a hat-trick in the Salford game, and that earned him more minutes in Premier League games. He scored against Newcastle as well. Here are the goals from the Salford game. We can have a reflection on that. But with James McAtee scoring in the Cup, then scoring in the Premier League, he's now knocking on the door and saying, look, I want to play every week.
Yeah, I think so. You know, and obviously there's great respect for the manager, but I like young players who have a healthy disrespect, and they want to know why they're not playing. Don't be content. You know, if you've gone in there and scored a hat-trick and you've done really well, go and knock on the manager's door, because he will respect that. He'll understand that, you know, that this kid wants to play. He's not just happy to, you know, play a bit part. And, you know, every time he's played, I mean, in the Newcastle game, he came on for the last 15 minutes and scored an assist. He gets in those moments, and he has the quality. In the final moment, he's very, very good. You know, there's areas of his game that's still a lot of work on, but he arrives, you know, and he meets the ball with the right pressure. He doesn't lack it.
Flustered in
he feels the ball into the net, you know. Again, the manager, I think, spoke fondly in the summer, you know, when he said, like, you know, he's going to be a major part of us this season, and has played many games, scored important goals. And somebody that the manager goes to now later in the game, he knows he'll go in, and when we want to keep possession, or we need to be creative, or I need a bit more energy, I can rely on him. And great testament that he's back in again today.
That looks easy, them highlights, but don't forget, when they played Salford, the keeper on loan from Sunderland, they hadn't conceded any goals, you know. They've been really solid at the back. They've been really solid at the back. And City and the kids come in, and I tell you what, against experienced, solid defence, played ever so well, and then finishes. Some of his first touch for one of the goals there was sublime. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. If you've got a first touch like that, you've got a chance. Well, I'm speaking in general.
I know, but you were looking directly at me. So let me tell you, I haven't. I never did. And that's why I'm doing this job, but I'm not out there on the field. So if we look across the team across the bottom of the screen, there's a healthy blend, isn't there? We've talked about the youth that's in the team, but also you've got the experience there of Ortega in goal, Nathan Ake, Ilkay Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne is going to be the captain today.
There's not a recognised striker, is there? So it's going to be pass and move.
Yep.
And the two centre backs of Plymouth, big strong boys, Maxi, and what's his other the kid,
Katic and Maxi.
Yeah.
Salavierev. So we'll call him Maxi.
Yeah. It's all going to be about movement for Manchester City today. And when you look at that at the bottom of the screen, every one of them in possession on the ball can shift that football.
Yeah, so Jack Grealish got an assist for Kevin De Bruyne to score the winner against Leyton Orient in the last round. There's a great stat during the rounds that since Kevin made his Premier League debut, I think it was 9 years ago, these are the goals actually, no one has more assists plus goals in the FA Cup than Kevin De Bruyne. And we know what Pep's been saying about Kevin has a decision to make about his future. We know his contract's up in the summer. He'll have a point to prove today. He'll want to extend that record because he'll be thinking, I don't know how much longer I've got in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not so sure it's a point to prove. You know, he's a professional and he's a top professional. He's a winner. And it's about, you know, again, today being the best version of himself. And he gets more in pleasure from assists than he does from goals, you know, because it's really what defines who he is. He's a creator and... you know, today, again, you know, you want to win this game of football and they want to have a huge impact on the game. But you're looking at, as Peter was saying there a minute ago, you know, a false nine, who's going to arrive in the box. But that's very difficult for a centre-half. I need to know where the striker is. And I don't care if Haaland's playing or whoever's playing, Marmoush playing. So I know where he is and I'm up against him. But when they're popping in all around you, do I go in short with them? You know, today we could be looking at 80 to 85% possession.
You think that high?
City. I think it's going to be that high. Because of the way Plymouth play in a deep block, there's no way they can get to the third pass because they have no combinations of being able to get out. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them. And it's just how I think clinical City are, you know, with the chances that they'll create. Because it's very hard when they arrive at the right time, you know, whether it's runners or whether Gundogan is brilliant at breaking lines and getting into the box. You saw De Bruyne there, Foden, the link play. So it's going to be hard for them to manage that. I think the only person really would be Jack, who will be out in a certain area that'll give us something to stretch and give us a bit of shape. But the rest of them, I can just see movement and it's going to be hard to stop it.
Yeah, buzzing round like hornets. So good luck to them. The other point I want to make, in the last round when Plymouth beat Liverpool, I don't know if you remember the team that they sent out Liverpool, it was a junior team, but also on the bench. They didn't really have much in terms of backup if it doesn't quite go to plan. Listen to this bench. Edison, Ruben Diaz, Omar Marmoush, Erling Haaland, Jeremy Doku, Nico Gonzalez, Josko Gvardiol, Savinho, Mateus Nunes, all of them, without a shadow of a doubt, first teamers in their own right. Wow. That is an insurance policy and a half.
Yeah, I watched the game and I thought that you never know what's going to pan out, but I thought Liverpool were in trouble. And I spoke to a few people during the game and said, there's an upset on the cards here because you weren't able to go and get Salah or McAllister off the bench.
I think they only had Nunes, was the only real one.
And we had Foden and De Bruyne when things got a bit sticky against Leyton Orient and be able to change that. And it's interesting what you think about it. You know, when you don't bring players down and you leave them at home, I think it works two ways. Because if I was a player, I'd be saying, well, why are you playing me? And why are you leaving them at home? So it was so difficult, and there was a lack of energy from Liverpool, and Plymouth were exceptional on the day. Didn't really get run over. The keeper had a few saves at the end, which you would expect, but it was very comfy for Plymouth because of the way they set up in a deep block. Very similar to what I watched last night with Cardiff against Villa. It will be literally 10 to 15 yards outside their box. There'll be 11 men, and that is difficult to break down.
And they had to win it over 99 minutes, didn't they? Because there was the 9 minutes added on that apparently your son said you shouted out about 15 times when you were watching it on the TV. OK, right, so we've seen the Manchester City team. It's running across the bottom of your screen. I think it's time we reflect on the visitors today. Championship strugglers Plymouth have been brilliant in this competition. Let's get their team from our match commentators, Nicky Weaver and Ali Mann. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Welcome to Pitchside. Alongside me, the former City goalkeeper, Nicky Weaver, who's on co-commentary duty with me today. Nicky, we've had a few minutes to look at the City team. 11 changes, which I guess kind of points to the fact that maybe the injuries are starting to clear up a little bit.
Yeah, there is 11 changes, but it's still a team that we'd expect to have enough to beat Plymouth. Obviously a good result in the week after a difficult Sunday afternoon against Liverpool last week. So yeah, it was probably always going to ring the changes, looking after certain players. But like I said, it's still a team that you think's got more than enough to handle Plymouth.
You look at the side, obviously no Marmoush or Haaland in the starting 11, so we assume a false 9. How much of a challenge is that going to be for a team who probably never come across that before?
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing you come across in the scrap of the Championship that they're in. So yeah, it'll be something different for them, and it's something a bit different for City these days. Obviously, Haaland's led the line. Pretty much most of the season, and Marmoush has been there as well, so something a little bit different. But listen, you've got Foden there, McAtee, lots of creative players in those positions, so yeah, it'll be a false 9. They might rotate a little bit as well, so whoever ends up in the false 9 or the 10 or whatever, still be enough to create a lot of problems for Plymouth, I think. Obviously,
Champions League qualification is one aim, the FA Cup is another. How significant a game is this for City?
I think it's a huge game, and if we get into the Champions League, which I believe we will, we've got a real chance of winning the FA Cup. I mean, what a great season. And I think people talk about what's happened at City and where's it all gone wrong and all this kind of thing, but listen, I think it's a time to almost thank everyone who's been involved for the last 7 or 8 years, because what they've done has just been sort of off the scale, and they made something really difficult look really easy. And it's only now that people are realising how difficult what they've done was. There's a reason why no one's won 4 Premier Leagues and 5 Premier Leagues. So it's a massive game today. It's what you'd call a favourable draw, but they've still got to take care of business and make sure they're in the hat for the next round.
You talk about achievements. In 2019 they win the FA Cup as part of the domestic treble. No side had ever done that before. In 2023 they win it as part of a different treble. It just shows you what they've been doing for the last 8-9 years.
Yeah, it's been groundbreaking, and it's not just what they've done, it's how they've done it as well. So listen, this season's been a little bit different to what we've been used to, but it can still be a really successful season. A massive result in the weekend's Tottenham, getting that 1-0 win. And yet we're getting to the business end of the season now, so each game seems to take on more significance.
Well, before we go on about City for too long, let's tell you a little bit about Plymouth. This is their starting 11 today. 21 is the goalkeeper, Connor Hazard. Then it's Balimumba, Nathaniel Ogbeta, Julio Pleguezuelo, Callum Wright, Mustafa Bundu, Darko JB, and then it's Boateng, Katic, Soranola and Talovierov, who is one of their many new signings. They're a bit of a team in transition, a new manager, obviously new signings in January as well, but who's caught your eye from that list?
Well, there's obviously 2 ex-City players there, Obeta and JB, is it?
JB,
how you pronounce his name, and Daniel Grimshaw, who I know well, on the bench. So yeah, there's a little bit of a connection there. They never actually made the grade here, so they'll be a big point to prove for them. But yeah, the new managers come in, and I think everyone on the planet's seen his first sort of meeting with the players and when he addressed them, and he's obviously changed things around at Plymouth, got a lot of belief there. Massive win in the last round against Liverpool. What he has done there down at Home Park is give a lot of the fans belief. He's got a great beard, probably one of the best beards in managerial football. So he's brought a new energy and a new passion to Plymouth. And yeah, like I said, there's a couple of ex-City players in there who didn't quite make the grade, so they'll be wanting to prove a point. And I don't think they're just coming here for a day out. Listen, it's a fantastic occasion for the club, and they deserve it from beating a much changed Liverpool team. But they'll sort of be quietly confident that they've got a puncher's chance. And I always say, anything can happen in 90 minutes of football. A player gets sent off or a deflected goal. So yeah, listen, we all think City have got enough to win, and they probably will do. But if Plymouth do get a chance, they're going to have to take it, because then they're going to have to rather look a little bit as well.
You mentioned Daniel Grimshaw. He must be really disappointed that he's not got the nod today. But he did. He was part of the Sheffield Wednesday setup when you were involved.
Yeah, so when I was the academy coach at Sheffield Wednesday, we had a goalkeeping crisis with the under-18s, and we had an FA Youth Cup game coming up. and we got 2 injuries last minute, and we had to loan someone, and we loaned Daniel Grimshaw from City, and he did really well for us for a few games. Then he came back and followed his progress since, and he became number 3 for a couple of years here without breaking through, and then he went off to Blackpool, and then Wayne Rooney took him in to Plymouth at the summer, so he'll be very disappointed he's not playing. And but yeah, someone I know, and yeah, good luck to him.
Well, your final thought has to be your gut feeling about what we're going to witness this afternoon. I imagine I'm speaking as one of the Plymouth coaching staff. They're expecting to be out of possession for long periods in the game. What are you expecting?
Well, I think everyone's... Listen, City generally dominate possession, and I think they'll comfortably do that this afternoon. We do know they can be vulnerable for sides on the counter, with pace, so that's something they've got to be wary of. But listen, City are going to dominate. They're going to create chances, and it's about taking the chances. And if Plymouth are going to get anything out of this game, they're going to have lots of luck. The goalkeeper's going to have a good game, and if they get the odd chance, they're going to have to take it.
The thoughts there of Nicky Weaver. He is alongside me on commentary duty, so make sure you download the app. But for the moment, back to you, Chris.
Ali, Nicky, thank you. Yeah, download the app. Everybody at home, what are you watching us for? You got to get the app downloaded as well. You get the full commentary of Manchester City against Plymouth on the app, of course. Get the app, get the app, get the app. They keep telling me. Right, so we've got the Plymouth team in. The one thing I want to pick up on is the fact that they brought in these 2 new defenders in the January transfer window. So new manager change, but also they realised they had to change the playing staff as well because they're right down the bottom of the Championship, trying to preserve their status there. And they brought in these 2 giants from Europe. Maxi Talavierov, who's come in. He's already got a man of the match. He's already got a goal, and they've tightened up at the back. And today's captain, Nikola Katic, as well. Both of them 6'4", and organised, it seems.
I think when you see the goals against, it's been fantastic when they're in. And the biggest thing about them today, Andy mentioned before, it'll be a different sort of game for them with the possession. But what I would say, on the offensive side, any dead balls that go into the City box, if these 2 lads, I'm convinced, will be sent up there. So Manchester City will have to watch that. But it's going to be a difficult afternoon with the movements, the rotation, like Nicky said, and just the basic technical ability of the City players, because they'll shift the ball quick today. Pep will say, listen, you've seen what they've done to Liverpool, you've seen what they've done at Brentford, don't be underestimate these lads. Mm-hmm. We need to go out there and play with pace, desire, and let's shift the ball, and it's going to be hard.
It is going to be hard. I've just been told that Pep's given his pre-match interview, and he said that the message today to all the players is do the job.
Yeah.
Play the game, not what's on paper.
Yeah. You're going back to the 2 boys that you mentioned. I watched Plymouth 3 times this year, and obviously the Liverpool game and then the Millwall game on the television. And
they won 5.
That was great.
Yeah, they won it. There's a game afterwards, and I wasn't. It's not a slight on Wayne Rooney. I had no idea what the identity of what Plymouth was when I was watching them. I didn't see whether they were possession based, they were direct, whether they were deep. They were all over the place, and they conceded so many goals. They brought the 2 big boys in, and what they're basically saying is, if if we can defend our box and you want to throw balls in, these 2 are going to head it out. Very, very good at set plays. There is a bit of pace on the counter, which is going to be difficult to expose City today because how high they can get them up the pitch. But they love defending, and they'll enjoy that today. And there might become humour there today when you start seeing the turning to the crowd and the clapping and the high fives that they do every time they block a ball. It's not me. But if that keeps them in the moment and it creates an energy and an intensity in the players, because you can kind of get into this frenzied defensive mode where every time it breaks down, every time there's a goal kick, every time you clear an opportunity, you kind of build this energy. The only thing is when you do concede, that can burst very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't concede early on, if City get a couple of goals up in the first 10, 15 minutes, it could be a horrendous afternoon for Plymouth, because I don't know where you go afterwards. If you are defensively solid in a deep block, I'm not sure where you go here. I've seen teams try and go 2 or 3-0 down. Leeds come to mind. Under Bielsa, 7-0. It should have been 15 because they're trying to get back into it. Will Plymouth try and get back into it if they go behind? Because then City will destroy you.
Yeah, you can get pulled apart. These are great shots. This is a little bit earlier when Plymouth Argyle first walked out onto the pitch. Miron Muslic is their coach, stylish guy. He's modelled himself on you, Reid.
The only thing I'd say about that, they're all waving and smiling and high fives and all that. When he gets him in the dressing room, he will go, we've got a job to do.
Do the job,
today.
same as Pep.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a job to do today. We know it's going to be hard. We're going to have to we defend for our lives. But when we got a chance to go at him, and I think when I hear him speak, he's a guy, I think, exudes confidence, you know, and I think he's got a knowledge about the game. Because even as a recruitment, he's come in, he's gone, you said you wasn't sure whether Wayne had an identity. He's come in and gone, bang, 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 boom. That's my identity.
Took the keeper out, who was a ball player, and said, stop the ball going in the net, kick it long. So there was clear in how he wanted to see the game, and an idea of how are we going to stay in this league. Not how am I going to tick boxes. How's this going to get me another opportunity? I loved it, because how do I keep Plymouth in the Championship?
With what I've got.
With what I've got.
Yeah.
And he's gone about that, and, you know, utmost respect for that.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we hear from the Plymouth Argyle coach. His name is Miron Muslic, and he's been talking about the challenge of coming here to the Etihad to play City and facing the great Pep Guardiola.
Come on, it's City away. I don't think it can get bigger in England. It's Manchester City away, the most dominant team for the last 6, 7, 8 years. It's Pep Guardiola next to me. So it's the Etihad Stadium with 8,000 of the Green Army. It's huge, and we are very, really looking forward. I think a giant in our sport, a giant as a coach. I think one of the most successful coach in sports history, one of the most successful coach in football history, a trendsetter for the last 20 games, raising the bar on the highest possible level, and also raising something you can't almost raise, finding these marginal gains to still improve. So I think the biggest honor in my life, as in my career as a coach. So I'm very much looking forward to shake his hand and to tell him exactly this, that he's a giant of our sport and a huge role model, I think, for every single coach in this world.
Right, full disclosure, I'm all about City today, City Blue, but I love that guy, Miron Muslic. I love listening to him. When he got the job, there was this video that went around on TikTok. It was 4 minutes of him, the first time he met his players, and it's like a Hollywood speech. It's so good, in his second language, the way he delivered it. And I just think the way he speaks, he clearly loves football, he clearly appreciates the challenge that he's got ahead of him. This is, he calls, a beautiful adventure. This is a break from the norm for Plymouth Argyle. This is not the week-to-week drudge of trying to stay in the Championship, which is real grind. This is a day out with a job to do, for sure. But this man was a Bosnian refugee, aged 9. His family had to flee the war. They set up camp in Austria, based himself there. He played pro football, not to a very high level by his own admission. He became a coach. He coached little Cercle Bruges, into Europe, first time in 30 years. And then it went south and they sacked him. But when they sacked him, they had to say, it's with a hole in our heart that we're having to do this. We don't want to lose this guy, but we have to think of the club, the bigger picture. It seems that everything he touches, everyone that he touches, he seems to uplift them. It's tough skill to have, right?
Well, if you're a football coach or a manager and you haven't had the sack, you're either absolutely magnificent or the luckiest person in the world. Because short of eggs and eggs, no matter how successful it's going to get you. But what I seen that little clip, and it was inspiring. And the biggest thing I'd say about it, when you're a coach, and your tools are your players, so you've got to have inspiration. Hey, you've got to get into them every now and then. But more importantly, you've got to get that confidence exuded. And you'll have bad days, but if you get these players working for the football club, yourself as a coach, that's it. And certainly the way he speaks, what I've heard, he does that. You can see, well, they panned around the dressing room, didn't they? You know, and to be fair, when he finished, I got up and clapped.
Just watching it at home.
Well, yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. But that's you know, man management, as we used to call it, and he's got it.
Yeah, he certainly does. A couple of other lines I want to touch on Plymouth Argyle. Ryan Hardy scored the winning goal against Liverpool, but he's injured. That's a real shame for him personally, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. A big loss, Ryan, because what he does have is pace. And as a central striker, you know, he's able to stretch and maybe give them a chance to get out. I mean, listen, I watched the top Premier League players here not be able to get out and expose City. So it would have been difficult, but he does have the ability to bring people into play. And also the young boy, Randall, who's come through the who's come through the ranks at Plymouth and the captain now. You know, so he's missing as well. So it's 2 big losses, but you know, I think Ryan's cemented his name in Argyle history with that winner against Liverpool, and it'll always be remembered. So, but a shame he's not here today.
Yeah, shame for him personally. One other player that we're looking out for today is Darko JB, who's on loan from Leeds at Plymouth Argyle, came through the Manchester City Academy, and I'm sure Ali in the commentary will be keeping you fully abreast on City Plus of how Darko gets on in that midfield against his former employers. But we've had, half an hour of the show, and we haven't heard from FG yet. What's going on? We need to hear from FG, right? And this time it's something a little bit special because we all know he's the king of the esports world, the lord of the esports, the lord of YouTube and all of that. So we've thrown him up against Plymouth Argyle's very own version of FG. He's called Pieface. His real name is Jack McDermott, and we got the two of them together.
I am here with Mr. Pieface in preparation for the FA Cup 5th round. We're going to be playing a game of FC 25-95 overall mode, Man City versus Plymouth.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking everything to do with the 5th round tie. First things first, I mean, I already know how excited you are to go to the Etihad in the away end.
Yeah, first time watching Argyle there.
Who should we be looking out for when Plymouth come to the Etihad in terms of players that you've got, talent that you've got?
Well, I say defensively at the minute, we've got Katic and Maxi and Paulson, the 3 lads at the back. They're hard nuts.
Right.
So I think they might give Ireland a bit of a time.
Well, better.
Well, they're not playing here. I haven't got them in this update. Or Paulson is. But you're grinning on me.
No, I didn't. No, it's just natural. It's a normal celebration.
Sorry, let me just activate that.
Look at the posture change
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Right. So you got some hard nuts, right?
Yeah.
You think you got 5 at the back?
Yeah.
I like your manager, you know. I followed him on Instagram the other day because I think he's a bit of a cool guy.
Muslich.
He's a top guy.
Did you enjoy his speech?
Yeah, his speech was actually like, it pulled on the heartstrings, you know.
We got Randall pulling the strings in the midfield.
Well
he's
played,
the
Rico
key.
Lewis.
You got to watch out for him. And I don't know if my mate up front, Hardy, got an injury. He scored the penalty against Liverpool,
Yeah,
and now he's injured.
Cool.
Yeah.
So talk to me about Phil then. Obviously, you've been, whenever, I think since I've known you on stream, you've loved Phil Foden as a footballer. Exchanged a few DMs before? For the game, you can't really wish him luck against the Argyle.
No, exactly, I can. I'm going to have to say go easy on us, but
yeah.
No, I think it's just one of them, you know, being I'm such a massive fan of like England when it comes to like competitive football and stuff. It's just, there he goes.
Speaking of the devil, when the draw came out, me and you texted each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hope we get each other in the FA Cup. And you replied saying, to be honest, I'd rather play United. And the reason you replied that is probably because you fancied yourselves at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you what, right? Anyone can beat United. And I haven't done Old Trafford yet, so it was one to try and tick off.
Honestly, mate, you're not missing much. It would have been a good one for you to play him, because I probably would have come in the away end with you. That would have been fun.
Yeah, you'd have been keen for that.
Yeah, that would have been fun. You've actually got a good record against the Prem clubs.
We do. You should fear us.
Yeah, I've been starting to get a little bit rattled. The Liverpool game, though, going into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've watched the vlog.
Thanks,
The
mate.
Life of Pi vlog. It was very good. Did you expect to go through when you saw that draw?
No.
Like, was there any form of, at what point in that game did you start thinking, hang on a minute?
Do you know what? At half time, I legitimately thought we're so in this game.
Yeah.
Like Liverpool were disappointing, I think.
2-0, would you take a 2-0 defeat at the Etihad?
Part of me deep down is like, yeah, I'd love it. Go on, Hardy lad, here we go.
There's a
meaningful goal, yeah.
No.
2-1 with a meaningful goal.
Full time, Mr. Pie.
Yeah.
So hopefully the result will be the same. Pretty cool there, isn't it?
I love it. The whole
Welcome
campus
back.
is fantastic.
Anytime, mate. As
Thanks,
long as
mate.
we get into the next time the FA Cup. Welcome back.
Right.
Anytime.
What if we win?
Us, Mr. Pie. Yeah, he won't be back. Good luck, mate. I hope you have a great time at the Etihad.
Thank you, mate.
Hope you get beat, though.
Enjoyed that. Pieface at FG, having a good old game on EAFC. These are live pictures of Plymouth Argyle going through their warm-up drills ahead of kick-off in the FA Cup 5th round against the reigning Premier League champions, Manchester City, here at the Etihad. I tell you what, it looks a bit different, that pitch, to the last time Plymouth played here in the FA Cup. That's in 1988. We had a look at the YouTube video earlier, didn't we, Reid?
Brilliant.
In the first instance of the highlights, there is an elbow by Paul Stewart on a player called Jerry McElhinney of Plymouth. And you know Jerry, don't you?
I know Jerry well.
Northern Ireland.
Completely wiped him out.
I tell you what, he was at Bolton. He's one of the hardest players I've ever played
Well, I
with.
googled him.
Oh.
He's an ex-boxer.
Oh, by the way, he is a character.
I was his apprentice at Plymouth.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah,
I was his
he's down
apprentice.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, so he helped shape you.
Oh, wow.
And he could drink Guinness.
Yeah. Oh,
I've got to say,
The old days.
Honest to God, he could drink Guinness.
Okay, so on this video, you can find it on YouTube. It's Plymouth against Manchester City, FA Cup 1988. If you look for it, 10-minute clip. The first second is this elbow from Paul Stewart. It's a bad one, isn't it? Yeah. And on the commentary, they go, well, it's an elbow. Probably a yellow card, and it is a yellow card these days with VAR, which Plymouth
probably
don't
arrested after the
do.
game.
Well, absolutely, it would have been a straight red card, and I think about an 8-game ban. One of the players that we just saw warming up there for Plymouth was Darko Jabi, who spent 4 years of his academy career here at the City Football Academy, just over the bridge from the Etihad Stadium. So we'll keep a keen eye on him today, and it's not the only mixed allegiance on show today. The two gentlemen in the studio alongside me, we've got Andy Morrison, we've got Peter Reid, and you can see there on the screen some photos of your blue and green past.
Lovely.
There you go, you got the trophy on your head in the blue, Andy, and slightly younger Andy Morrison in the Argyle green and white. And then Peter, you managed down there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You managed both, of course.
The spell down there, it was, like we said, it's a terrific club, but great memories. And obviously Manchester City was a little bit different when I played and managed them, but always had that great support. And obviously with that main road, and Main Road's always got a place in my heart, even though this is magnificent and it's the future, but I love that Main Road. It was brilliant.
Yeah. We'll get on to player managing, but also your time at Plymouth, because you basically had one arm, one leg, and your neck tied up in a bunch. It was a difficult job. We'll get on to that. But Andy, you grew up down there, right? And then you came through the ranks, as you said. Jerry McElhinney, you were the apprentice to him. What did it mean to you as a local lad to actually come through and play for the first team?
Yeah, it was really special. You know, I'm incredibly passionate about football. My life as a youngster, you know, and I had a dream of playing for Plymouth one day. You know, I went to my first game in '79, which was a derby, Boxing Day against Exeter, which was a huge game, and that was me then, fixated with football. Then become a schoolboy. You know, I made my debut at 17 against Villa Park. And went on and scored, and 140 appearances, and and then moved on. But I had a fantastic time down there and loved the place, and such an affinity with Argyle, and such a passion still for the football team. I was so lucky to be surrounded by so many good people. And I've said it often. I came literally off the fishing boats with my dad. No education, straight into football. And I had all these good people around me who just directed me and kept me in check. And the amount of times was said to me, listen, because I was always known as Jock because I come from Scotland, Jock, you can't do that if you're going to be a footballer. You can't do that. And they looked after me, and I loved it. And then I got a great move to Blackburn. I've seen them 2 or 3 times this year, and still very, very, play a big part in my life, Plymouth.
I understand there's some youngsters in your family who'll be a bit confused today. Do we go that
Well,
way?
my grandson, because you get these tops, so he's got the Argyle shirt on, and he's got the Man City shirt on, and it's just football. Football's marvellous, and his grandfather bought him England shirt. And then his great-granddad in Scotland saw it on Facebook, and then 2 days later he had a Scotland strip sent out. Love it. So football, you just can't leave it. The allegiance, and it's just wonderful.
Chop his shirt in half and just stitch it together. You can have one of each. Just split allegiances for the day.
I love that. Yeah.
We were talking as well when we were off air about what it's like for Plymouth Argyle and their fans, the Green Army. 8,000 here today, we think. 600-mile round trip. I googled it. It's 9 hours on a coach. It's a 5-hour drive. It's 5 hours by rail with 2 changes. And you, as a player, going home on a Saturday night after the away games, you wouldn't get out early, would you?
No. It was always a right trek. But as we were just saying with Peter, if we give them 15,000, they would have 15,000 here today. That's the following, and and they're obviously well regarded in the First Division as probably the biggest following club. There's some huge clubs now, but the Green Army travel. And obviously they're sold out every home game now, and it's kind of organically grown over a period of time from that really tough time that Peter had, when the club was in administration and so many restrictions.
He kept them going. The supporters kept the club going, to be
and
fair.
It's grown and grown and grown. And if any team deserved to be in, and I'm only reiterating what Spike and Peter will agree that the potential in Plymouth. For them to be, when you look at what Burnley have done and Bournemouth and Fulham and these teams that have gone into the Premier League and managed to hang around and stay, Plymouth is massive. you know, we've been saying it for decades that, you know, they should be up there, but there's so many things that, you know, deciding factors in that why they haven't. But the potential down there is huge. You've got the whole of Cornwall, you know, so if they were in the top league, you know, they'd be getting 40,000 every week if they had the stadium to fill it.
That same Bridge wouldn't get across it.
Yeah. We'll pick up on something you just said there about they kept the club going. The supporters kept the club going. You did your bit, and you've told us about this before, but just remind us what you did.
There's a couple home parks. What
FA Cup medal I'm thinking of?
Yeah. They were having a dinner, a fundraising that I donated a losing FA Cup winners medal. I know. And a couple of things happened, but it's a great club. It's sort of a family club, but a big club, and there's so much pride because they're sort of out in the limit. I mean, geographically, I'd call it that way. There's a mad passion about them. Yeah, a passion that you know, the northwest where I'm from has got a passion about football. Yeah, that's a passion down there that you cannot believe. And to be fair, it was at a difficult stage, administration, nearly liquidation. But the supporters got together, and they're the main reason why Plymouth Argyle now are in existence, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just one final point on Plymouth Argyle. They're 600 miles for this game, round trip. They're going to Hull on Tuesday night away. That's even further. Yeah. In a way, have they as a club got one arm tied behind their back when they're going into games? Because the players are always going to be tired by the time they get to an away game.
Yeah, there was a problem. You've just mentioned it. You know, Fridays, if you had a Saturday game, you know, Fridays with the traffic coming up, you didn't know what time to go, whether to train, whether to leave early, the fatigue the players get travelling. I mean, we all know the Premier League, and rightly so, aircraft to games, some games, trains, looked after them. These lads down there, it's a real tough one, physically and mentally on them. Mentally as well, because as we know, it tires you, travelling.
But on the flip side of it, the home record is always phenomenal.
Because everyone's got that in reverse.
In reverse, absolutely. And you know, we had fantastic records at home over the years, and then, you know, we're probably staying in the league, and the success has always been built on home performances.
That's why they call it Home Park, right?
Yeah, it could have been.
Because the home form's so good.
Just picking up on what Peter said, you know, because there's the massive thing about Newcastle area and the passion up there, and Manchester and your Liverpool and all that. I'm telling you, if you're from Plymouth and you live down there, you have no idea how the fixate with football is down there. All the schools this week, all the businesses, there's been parties, you know, the Argyles everywhere down there because of them coming to the Etihad today, and they celebrated the whole occasion.
Funny enough, something's just come to me mind there. When I won the FA Cup in '84, but the semi-final...
You didn't sell your winners medal?
No, semi-final was Watford and Plymouth during the semi-final.
84.
84. That was during the semi-final. I think because I was gutted because we drew Southampton, who were a good side, and we were going, we want Plymouth. But I'll tell you what a
Villa Park, that one. George O'Reilly scored, John Barnes cross.
Big lad.
I still remember it.
Amazing memories. That is a long time ago.
That just come to me then, I thought.
Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. You two can talk about this off air. We're going to go outside the studio. The stadium is filling up nicely. We're about, 20 minutes from kick-off. So let's go pitch side with Ali Mann, our match commentator, and a guest who needs absolutely no introduction. Ali.
Yeah, welcome back to Pitchside, where I'm joined by an ex-City player who's also got a foot in the Plymouth camp. It is, of course, Ben Jarney. You're most welcome back to the Etihad Stadium. Perhaps you should explain that you've got a foot in the Plymouth camp.
Yeah, now I'm working with Plymouth Academy. As you know, football can bring you here and take you somewhere else. You know, we're always moving through football, which is a good thing.
Okay, so who are you looking after? What age group?
I'm sort of like roaming around in all age groups from under 13 to 18. I'm like a specific coach for strikers. Sometimes I go with under 13s, but mostly with under 18s because they train every morning. Unlike the other under age groups, they train in the evening.
And what would you say that they're viewing this cup tie as? Is it a break from the norm? Is it exciting? How are they looking at this cup tie?
No, actually it's exciting considering that we've beaten Brentford, we've beaten Liverpool, and now we're playing with City. You know, when you come here at Etihad, aiming to knock out City is absolutely as exciting.
You've been with a number of clubs over the years, but there's always great affection for you from the City supporters. What does that mean to you, that even though you weren't here for that long, you're always very fondly thought of?
No, I'm actually, when I see that, when I hear that, I'm actually being honoured. I'm very, very happy with that I didn't stay for long. And then the impact that I did is just because I scored in that derby in Old Trafford, where we won our first 2-1 win, you know. So always when I come here, I'm always remembered, and I'm grateful for that.
You had some great moments in your career, but where does that rank, the goal in the derby at Old Trafford?
Actually, when I scored it, I didn't know that it was the first time after 36 years when we won at Old Trafford. But as time goes on, that's why you realize that, oh, that's why the City fans, they always like me, you know.
What was that year like with Sven-Göran Eriksson and all the new players?
It was absolutely amazing because I didn't know about the derby. As you know, that I came from France. So when I came in, actually in that derby, that's where I knew that that was a big derby here in Manchester.
And how exciting was it to be a part of all those? It was an era that was a lot of transition at the club, wasn't it?
It was exciting, at the same time not exciting. You know, when a lot of players, they come, you'll be like taking your first number to second to third. At the end, I was on this 6 in the pecking order as a striker, you know. But it was exciting, as you can see now. From then, we have won a lot, and we're still improving year by year. Unfortunately, this season, things, they didn't go on our way, which is normal. Now we need to get back and bring back the winning ways.
Just one final thought before I let you go. When you look at this particular season compared with the others, was there almost sort of an inevitability that after so many years there had to be a little period in which they have to recharge again?
Of course, you know, sometimes they say everything that flies have to come down because we've won a lot. I think this is the right time to regroup and bring new players. As you can see, some players, they are getting a bit older, you know, so it's be wiser when bringing in some new players, and this is the time, you know, when you are losing, and it's the time to rebuild.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you back at the Etihad Stadium. Thank you as always for your time. They're very, very, very welcome to see Benjani with us. Let's go back to Chris in the studio.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ali, and a big thank you to Benjani. He looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't he? And speaking of which, Jack doesn't look half bad. He starts today alongside Kevin De Bruyne, both of them hopefully going to be pulling the strings for Manchester City. Star-studded show here, star-studded affair at the Etihad. No different on Matchday Live. We caught up with our very own Sean Wright-Phillips earlier in the week for his thoughts on the FA Cup and also his own family collection to Plymouth. Let's take a little look.
I don't think it will be easy because FA Cup draws never really are, and they always go on till the 93rd minute regardless of the scoreline. So it will be hard work, but I still think City win that game. You have to be professional, especially within the FA Cup. You can't go in there thinking, oh, because they're in a different league, it's going to be an easier game. It's going to be just as hard, but maybe in a different way. They're going to be a team that don't really care about having the ball, will fight till their last breath. The tackles, I can imagine, will be flying in. Liverpool couldn't take their chances. Their keeper was on fire. As everything Liverpool tried got saved, and then they got a penalty, and the penalty was dispatched very clinically. And so we know they will cause problems, but as long as we bring our A game, especially at home, I think we should be able to win this. And I think as a kid, when you're growing up, especially in my time, me and my brother, it was something we always used to watch. We looked forward to the FA Cup. We enjoyed the knockouts. We enjoyed the stories of the smaller clubs being able to beat the bigger clubs and going on. His career took him far down there. And while he was there, he actually did really well. I think he played something like 32 games and scored 17 goals. So He's goal every other game for him, which is a really good start. And then from that point, I think he moved on to Charlton after them. But I remember speaking to him, and he said he really enjoyed it there, and he enjoyed playing his football down there. So I'm actually looking forward to watching the game on Saturday. But sorry, I really do hope we beat you because you sold my brother.
Righty, what a heart he had.
Aye. That's some great goals in there. I love the parting shot from Sean. He said, I really hope that City win because Plymouth sold my brother, Bradley. you had him, and we've just seen some goals that Bradley Wright Phillips scored for you. Yeah. He was banging him in under you.
He was a good player, but he had knee problems, and I know all about knee problems. But I seen him, and he was in the gym with me one day because we were doing a bit, and I said, he said, me knee? I've got a sore knee. And I said, well, listen, when you don't want to train and want to go in the gym, you tell me, as long as you're right for Saturday. And he got goals, and I think he ended up going to Brit, but Balassi was there. There were some good players, but when they went into administration,
you had to sell them.
They come in, the administrator, and they sell them.
Yeah. Where's the assets? They're going.
Yeah.
So Bradley Wright Phillips is someone who spent time at Manchester City right at the start of his career, and then went on to Plymouth, and then went on to bang in the goals in the MLS. And another player who has a mixed history with Plymouth Argyle and Manchester City is the great Tony Book Skip, who we sadly lost in January this year, but he did it all as a player, as a manager with Manchester City. Just a quick word from both of you on Skip.
Well, hey, listen, when you talk about a footballer coming late, professional football, but even better than that, what a man. An absolute diamond, and he loved Manchester City through and through. Sadly missed, but I'm just glad I knew him.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, 32 years old he came to City and won back-to-back Player of the Year, which is incredible. The football side, of course, we know that, but as a man, and I was privileged to work on match days with him, and going around, and just the most humble man you could ever imagine. And when he started talking about the players he played against, and we were all kind of like shrunk away a little bit, but just a fun. And as Peter said, privileged to have met him and known him.
5 trophies he won with City. Division 1, the FA Cup, 1968, 1969, the European Cup Winners' Cup, the League Cup, and the Charity Shield as well. He is so very missed. Skip. Right, we're going to head down to pitch side because we are now getting closer to kickoff. It's only 11 minutes away. It's time for Ali Mann. And this time, he's doing his impression of, I don't know, Top of the Pops 2 presenter. He's got the Pop Stars Bastille. They're big Plymouth fans.
Right, welcome back. We are honoured to be in the presence of, well, 2 of the members of Bastille, who I'm sure you know. I was only listening to music this morning, and that's not...
They always say that.
I know, I
I
do, because my son said, "Oh, Bastille," and he immediately put Pompeii on. But anyway, that's here and there. You can tell that one of these 2 guys is a massive fan of Plymouth Argyle. Any prizes for guessing who it might be?
Cut it half, he bleeds green.
Woody, where's it come from? You're a born and bred Plymouth boy, are you?
Yeah, so my dad, my granddad, it's literally in the family. It wasn't a choice. Indoctrination, as I have now passed on to my sons. I'm based in Brighton. They are the only kids in the playground wearing green, which obviously knocked out Liverpool last round, and they get rocks from all their mates in the playground about following Argyle. They can finally come in for once, on Monday morning, living it up. So Argyle till I die, I'm afraid.
A very special day for all the fans connected with the club, I imagine.
Yeah, massively. But also, so we're just up there at the minute. Peter Reid. Just off to the right, who's obviously a legend here at City, but also a massive legend at Argyle as well. Famously auctioned off his FA Cup medal to pay our heating bill when we were in administration. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of City crossover in Argyle, loving it, I think.
And you've just been dragged along, Will, have you?
Well, yeah, I'm a sort of, by default, I'm a Plymouth fan. I actually went to see them play at Home Park, and the one time I went, the referee got knocked out cold. So I'm like, if this is the level of excitement that Plymouth can bring, I dread to think what you're in store for tonight. But yeah, when they played Liverpool, I sort of thinking, oh, Plymouth are playing. I've never been more nervous. I was just like, oh my God, come on. I text Woody immediately after the win. I'm as green as Woody now.
When you're touring around the world, is he across all the Plymouth games? Is he on the phone?
Woody will wear his Plymouth shirt whenever they play, even if we have a gig. So often we'll be like, because you're supposed to look a bit cool if you're in a band, and then Woody will just be full strip, football boots and everything. But yeah, he is the most die-hard football fan I've ever met.
I was looking back through the record books ahead of this game. I think it's the 80s since they reached the semi-final.
That was 1984 against Watford. We lost 1-0.
There you go. So you know that this is already a special event, even though, you know, it's only the 5th round.
It is. I mean, as has been well documented, we had a not so good run under Wayne Rooney and our former manager before Christmas. The new guy there, Miran Muslik, absolute game changer. Like, we are a different club under him now. But the cup run just sort of came at the same time as he turned up. There's this new belief, and you never know. I mean, I was saying earlier, it'll be peak Argyle for us to go and beat City now and then lose to Preston next round. That would be peak Argyle, I'm afraid.
Can you see it happening, a win over City?
I mean, I was at Liverpool. I was at home park when we beat Liverpool. I saw it, so maybe I can see it again. You never know.
Well, I've been watching football a long time. I've never seen a referee knocked out, so maybe you're a kind of a charm for something out of the extraordinary.
I bring the unexpected, so I think my presence here today, if anything, is probably going to get Plymouth through. Although my wife just sent me a message. She's not a football fan. She's like, I've been doing some reading. I'm not sure how good their chances are. I was like, I'll tell Woody then.
That's fine.
Just a quick one on music. What's next for you guys? Where are you going next?
There'll be some stuff coming out in the press very, very soon, which I can't say because if I do, I'll get shot by management. But yeah, stay tuned. And can I do a real shameless plug? Over here. I've got a football podcast called Away Days with Woody and Piers. It's all about the football, like, fandom. It's kind of football adjacent. We've got everyone from, like, Helen Chamberlain, Fatboy Slim. It's really good. It's about football fans rather than, like, you know, like analysing VAR. Yeah, Worst Away Days. It's really good. So have a listen wherever you are.
Well, we go to all 4 corners of the globe, so you've got the message across. It is a pleasure to have two of the members of Bastille with us. I don't think they're going to play some a cappella stuff for us, but they are going to sing some Plymouth songs, I'm sure. Back to you.
Class.
Brilliant. That's a Bastille number. Teams going through their final warm-ups in the tunnel. God, they get younger and younger, don't
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
What a day for those mascots. The Argyle mascots on the left, giving it the full beans in the warm-up, and the City ones on the right of the screen. Just to recap, the starting team that Pep is sending out today: Stefan Ortega in goal. You can see the team across the bottom of your screen. Rico Lewis in defence. Vitor Reis of Brazil makes just his 2nd appearance for Manchester City in the defence alongside Nathan Ake. Nico O'Reilly, Ilkay Gundogan, captain Kevin De Bruyne, and James McAtee alongside Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish. And we think it's going to be Phil Foden. The players making their way into the tunnel. We can see Bernardo. Guys, just a quick one, really. Your final thoughts ahead of this game? It's a big ask for Plymouth Argyle, but they've had 2 big asks already.
I think Pep will be desperate to win this game. I think the City players will be fired up. I think it's going to be difficult for Plymouth Argyle, and I think City will win it. But it'll be tough.
Yep, they're never easy. Andy?
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really tough afternoon for Plymouth. Football gods are on your side. Keeper's brilliant on the day. If City are wasteful, then, you know, it could get something from it. But, you know, I think the worst case scenario, it could be a difficult afternoon. I'm going to go 4-1.
4-1, Andy. Quick score prediction, Reedy?
3-0.
3-0 Manchester City, we think. Handshakes with the mascots. Kevin De Bruyne is going to lead Manchester City out. It is that time. You'll get your match commentary on City Plus, and that match commentary comes from Nicky Weaver and Ali Mann.